Hey guys, and welcome back. So at the very start of this video, I want to issue a trigger warning. There will be talk of suicide, suicidal ideations, alcohol and drug misuse, and probably self-harm. So if they are topics that are sensitive to you, please do click away. You're not missing anything. So thank you. To anyone who's left, hello. So why am I making a video about a very sensitive topic like this? Well, one, I was going to make this video anyway, but two, with recent events, I feel like I've a little bit of explaining to do, and I don't owe anybody an explanation, but like I said, I was going to do this anyway, so it just feels like the right time, because I'm getting a lot of questions. So if you did not know, I was very suicidal for a very long time. And I did try and take my own life on multiple occasions. The ones I'm going to talk about at the very start of this video are going to be about the times where I did not try and take my life sober. Because there was only one other time where I tried to take my life sober. And I feel like there's a very big distinction between those two times. Mainly because I feel like people think that as an alcoholic, when you get sober and you stop drinking, that you are free from your problems. It's not true, because I'm the problem, so alcohol is just a consequence of me, the problem. But anyway, I want to also say that if I crack any awkward jokes, awkward faces, or anything along those lines, please do bear with me, because humor is a big coping mechanism for me. It always has been, and I know that for people that aren't used to hearing about these topics or talking about these topics, it can feel a bit disjointed that I laugh about incredibly heavy things, but for me, that's really what got me through the really dark times. So I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable, but that's my coping mechanism, because this is my life. These are real events, and this is how I get through those things. So I hope you understand. So let's dive into the first few times. Basically, I know a lot of people want to blame TV for me either becoming an alcoholic or being suicidal, and that's not true. I had suicidal ideations from a very young age. I was in my very early teens dreaming about suicide. I just thought that that's how I was going to die. I would be casually doing my makeup and I'd be like, I wonder what I'd write in the note. Oh, I can't forget that, and I need to make sure I say that. Genuinely planning out my suicide at that young of an age. And I thought that was normal, because, you only see the world through your own eyes. Like, this is your only view. So I'd never thought that that was a weird thing to do, basically. Turns out it's not healthy. Yeah, dreaming and daydreaming about your own suicide is not normal. I did TV, and that was like, I had suicidal ideations during that, but like, again, this was like a normal thing throughout my life. I just thought that was normal. Luckily on the show though, I reached out, I asked for help, and I was given help. I was given a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and a doctor. I was medicated. So X Factor was really good at, nipping that in the bud whenever I told them that I had issues. Then fast forward maybe, 60, 70, probably about a year and a bit, maybe 2 years, was I think when I really hit a low. Yeah, so I developed insomnia after TV. Which apparently is a very common side effect. I've heard a lot of people I know have done TV, especially reality TV, and they all kind of seem to have the same thing happen to them when it's over. Like, you get insomnia, and it was unbearable for me. And I also realized I was drinking a lot more because I wanted to sleep. I was so tired that I was like, fine, I'll just have a shot of whiskey to just nightcap me to sleep, Obviously, that also became quickly insidious, and I mentioned in a previous video that, about my alcoholism. But then that also gave me access to sleeping medication, because I did have insomnia. And those two things on their own, you know, if somebody has to take sleeping medication for whatever reason, that's fine. I mean, obviously it's not ideal and I won't go into that. But if you're prescribed it and you take it, whatever. If you have a few drinks sometimes to help yourself go to sleep, that's nothing wrong with that. It's the fact that I was abusing both these things. And, you know, I got to the point where I would save up my sleeping medication. So I would drink excessively so that I could like put away my sleeping pills and save them up. And then I would, you know, have a night's drinking that just would go very quickly south. And I would just, because this happened a few times, I would say it happened about 4 times where I tried to end my own self by this method. And that was, yeah, eating the whole sachet of sleeping medication and then drinking like a whole bottle of Jack Daniels or gin or whatever. And I think what's sadder to me than actually trying to take your own life is the morning after. Because I've never cursed a sunrise quite like one that I didn't want to see. You know, I didn't want to wake up and then to feel like you are a failure, even at that, is a lot. And it was hard. And I think what was harder was I was really, really trying to pretend like I was okay. You know, I really wanted people to think I was fine. But obviously I wasn't fine. So like, you know, I might have tried to end my life one night and the next day or a few days later I'm in the studio trying to pretend like everything's fine. Everything's grand. I'm okay. Which is not normal. Sorry, by the way. I'm in London, so like noise in that road. Yeah, which I think is a terrifying concept when you think about it, because you never really know if somebody's going through this problem, because you could literally be meeting somebody a few days after they've tried to like take their own life, and that makes my mind boggle, you know. Obviously now, like looking back, I'm very glad that all those attempts were failures. I'm proud to be a failure now. It's a thing I never thought I'd say as somebody with a perfectionism gene. But I'm so grateful. But I think I was in denial for a very long time about my suicide attempts because of the fact I was drinking. I was like, nope, they're not real. They don't exist, because I was mortal. You know, I think we're all guilty of that. Sometimes we do things when we're drunk and we're like, that never happened. I never did that. That was not a thing. And I just had that same mentality, but with suicide. And yeah, it's not a very good thing to do. Like at this time as well, I was ringing a lot of like helplines and things. I'll include some links in the description. I'll try and get as many links as I can for helplines and such. But I definitely, the amount of times I would call a helpline and just be like, I'm going through it. I'm really going through it. And sometimes that's all you need, is just like to talk about it. You know? Because sometimes I didn't want to talk about it because I felt like I was given this amazing life, or well, everybody perceived it as amazing, obviously, and I loved it, and I just felt so ungrateful. It's like, I have my dream job, it's really difficult and nobody really cares right now, but I can do it. I can try my best. I can keep pushing and make people care about my music. That's a possibility. But I was also just so deeply unhappy with myself, not with my job, not with my life. I was very blessed. I had a blessed upbringing. I have an amazing job. All of these things that are just great, but you can't see them in that. And I said it earlier, in those days you are so far away from sane rational thought. And because of my drinking, I really, really felt like a burden. I really felt like I was holding people back. I felt like I was stopping them from living their lives. So I just wanted to remove the problem, and the problem was me. And you have to be in such a bad place to feel that. You know? Anyway. I just hope people who are going through it, because I used to just believe that life wasn't for me. I heard a man say it at a funeral once for a girl who had taken her own life. He just said, loving just isn't for everybody, or something along those lines. And I just remember feeling like, even at a very young age, I was like, God, me too. I feel that, just because I'm a very sensitive human. And I love that for me most of the time. I get to write songs, I get to feel things, I write poetry because of all these feelings. But sometimes they are overwhelming, and sometimes they will mask your vision, they will mask your clarity. And obviously being an alcoholic didn't help. Anyway, let's go. So that happened about 4 times. Sorry for my haziness. Let me remind you, I was on benzodiazepines at the time, which are sleep medication, and I was on them for about 7 years. So my memory, not the best. Okay. The next one is one that I definitely buried for a very long time. So I can openly talk about those times when I tried to take my own life when I was drinking, because I feel like I can, like, in the back of my head, blame the booze. I can be like, that wasn't me, that was me drunk. But it took me a very long time to even tell my therapist about the time I did it sober. So I feel like this one needs a bit more of an explanation. If you are unaware of dissociative behaviors or dissociative conditions or anything to do with dissociation, because that's what I'm going to be talking about. So I am somebody who just is dissociative a lot. Because like I said earlier, I am somebody who has a lot of feelings, and my brain's fun way to cope with feeling too many is to turn them off. So I lose my feelings, basically, and I don't have access to my feelings. And if I get extremely dissociative, because it's a slidey scale, if I get extremely dissociative, basically it's like somebody else has taken the wheel of my life and I'm passed out in the backseat. So I'm not making the decisions. Like, me as a person, me, a human being, Janet, isn't making the decisions, you know. And I've had dissociative periods where, like, the first time and hopefully the last time I ever relapsed, I was in a state of the biggest dissociative episode I've ever had in my life. And I drank because I was searching for feelings. I couldn't feel anything and was panicking, I suppose. And I just felt so very far away that I thought that by drinking I would get my feelings back. And after that first sip of wine and not getting feelings, I was very upset. I wasn't upset. I remember just being like, is that it? That's it. It didn't do anything. Why? So I was annoyed that I broke my sobriety to chase something that never came, basically. But anyway, when I was sober, something happened that triggered a dissociative state. And like I said, somebody else is driving the car. I'm not making the decisions. Because me as a person, like, as a sober person, I'm very happy. I'm living a very lovely life, and I'm very boring now. And I take pride in taking care of myself, basically. I'm being a fully functional adult, because I honestly never thought I'd make it to adulthood. So I'm a happy, blessed person these days. But there was a time where I wasn't there. I can't explain this dissociative behavior. It's very difficult. I'm only getting to grasps with being a dissociative person sometimes, and I'm still learning about the dialogue as to how to explain this to people. But like, somebody else was in control of my life. I wasn't there. Janet, was not present in this moment. Okay, the one I'm describing now, and basically I managed to get my hands on a sachet of like painkillers, opiate painkillers, which, if you know anything about opiate painkillers, they are one of the world's biggest killers, and they're extremely addictive, but they're extremely dangerous, and the fatality rates of opiate-based painkillers is extremely high. I won't go into details as to how I got my hands on these, but I did. And I already knew what the fatal dose of that painkiller was. Don't know how, just did. And so bear in mind, I'm sober, but I'm not there, and I basically didn't even have thoughts of, I didn't think to myself like, I want to die, or like, I want to kill myself, or I don't want to live. Like, those thoughts weren't there. But somehow I still ate sachets, or sachet, like a sachet and a bit, because I had some of a different sachet, but a full sachet anyway of this opiate-based painkiller, and each pill was like 500 milligrams, and that was a lethal dose. And when I didn't have that same feeling as the last time, like where I woke up and I cursed the sunrise and all that kind of stuff, because I didn't, in my head, I wasn't even trying to end my own life. But what was I expecting to happen from eating that? Where did I think that was going to go? And now I didn't just wake up and hop out of bed and continue about my life. No, I spent 3 days in bed, broken, with this horrible taste in my mouth, and the headache. I can't even explain the headache. The headache was like something I've never experienced in all my life. Bear in mind, I've had alcoholic hangovers. Like, this was just agony. My whole body was in agony. I couldn't eat. I could barely drink anything. The most vile taste in my mouth for days. And when I finally could get out of bed, I still didn't think that I'd tried to take my own life. I was like, I just went about my life as if nothing happened. Just, oh, I was ill. I got sick. I'm sorry, I got sick. I had a really bad headache. Not telling anybody where the fucking headache even came from. And like, not admitting it to myself. And it took me a very long time before I could take that to a therapist and be like, hey, I think I tried to end my own life this one time without trying to end my own life, because I wasn't there, which, you know, obviously led on to the dissociative conversation and all that kind of stuff, because that's a thing. I still really struggle with that. I really do. I still to this day don't know how that happened. And I don't know how I got there. I don't know, because I wasn't me. So I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, it's a very bizarre one. But those kinds of realizations are the things that like push me now to maybe consider going and getting a diagnosis for whatever my underlying mental health condition is. I think it's pretty clear that there's a few, but I think I'm ready now at that time of my life where I think I should probably find out what they are, so that I can understand myself a little bit better. But anyway, I'm just, for now, I'm just glad that's over. You know, I don't think I've ever worked as hard at anything in my life than I have at trying to be well. And you're probably like, oh, you should probably try to work on something else. It's not just about you, you egotist. However, I learned the hard way that when you don't look after yourself, you indirectly hurt those around you. Because if you don't respect yourself, you can't respect the other people in your life. And That was very clear. When I was hurting myself in whatever way I was hurting myself, it was affecting those around me. But not in a nice way. So I had to put the work in to accept me, to learn how to love me, which is a weird thing to say. This 18 months ago, I couldn't even say I love myself. I couldn't say I'm worth it. And now I can wholeheartedly say I love myself. And that sounds like a weird thing to say. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm even the best version of myself. I'm just saying that I love myself unconditionally. My flaws and all. But I'm still constantly trying to be a better person for myself and those around me. Because I have to look after myself so I can help other people. And I often think about what would have happened if any of those attempts had been successful. And there's so much I would have missed. I would never have met my nieces. I never would have met my dog. It seems so silly, but I love him so much. I never would have got to make my album. I never would have got to be well. I never would have seen what life is like on the other side. Where you can appreciate the little things. Where you can be the annoying optimist in situations. I'm that person. I'm annoying. I'm like, well, everything happens for a reason. And I know that annoys people who don't know me, but I'm much happier being that person than who I used to be. And I will no longer curse the sun for rising because I'm so grateful to see it. Because even though times can get really hard, but they get better. It gets better, and I wish I could shake that knowledge into people who are also going through this. And I'm sorry for how gross I am right now, but it's true. If I could just pass on what I've learned, show people the silly moments that I get to appreciate, where I'll be washing my dishes and I'll see something and it makes me go, it's not awesome. I'm so glad I'm still alive to see that. You know, everything is worth living for. There's so much to live for. You know, even if somebody took everything I have away from me tomorrow, there's still so much to be grateful for. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my fridge. And those things I used to beat myself up with. We have privilege. We have a beautiful life. We have a dream job. But those things won't make you happy. You have to seek happiness on the inside. And that's really important, because you can't be grateful for those things unless you're grateful for yourself and for yourself for existing. And I'm not going to say that it's easy, and I'm not going to say that it happens overnight and you just hit with this epiphany of I'm worthwhile, because that's not how it works. But I swear to God, if you're willing to put the work in and just plow through the uncomfortable, because it's so uncomfortable to rewire your brain. It really is. Like, my method at the start was to just, every time I had a negative thought, I would counteract it with a positive one. No, I counteracted one negative thought with two positive thoughts. And let me tell you something. I was exhausted after one day. But that just really made me realize how much that wears me down. If I'm talking to myself like that, we would never accept somebody coming into our lives and talking to us the way we talk to ourselves in our heads. So we should never do it to ourselves. And like, it's that realization of like, I have to be my own best friend, because I'm the person who I'm stuck with for the rest of my life. And yeah, it was uncomfortable. It was very, very uncomfortable to hold a mirror up to yourself and ask yourself why aren't you okay with you? And some days I still have issues with myself. Some days I don't like me. But I know it'll pass. And I know that there's things to do that can help me. So I'm going to stop rambling now. But just thank you so much for all of the love and support through that time. And through all of this. Because I really do get to live my dream today, and that's amazing. So thank you for helping me keep that wee dream alive, because music really is the thing that I get out of bed for. And it's nice for that thing that I get out of bed for people to, you know, like. makes it feel even more worthwhile. I don't know. But if you're watching this and you relate too much to what I said, please don't sit with it. Don't let it marinate. Just know that it will work out, and I'll attach those links in the description, especially for helplines. I used to call helplines all the time, because I know friends mean so well when they say, call me, I'll answer. It's just, if you already feel like a burden, you're not going to call somebody. But I called these helplines because they were there. That's their job. That's what they're there for. They're there for people that are going through it. So don't feel bad about calling them. You're exactly why they exist. So I hope that removes a little bit of any guilt you may feel about reaching out, because that's what those places are for. But I just hope you're okay. But thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I have no idea how. And just thank you for your love and support and accepting me for who I am. It gives me a safe space to talk about these things, and I appreciate that. So I hope you're having a happy day, and that the world is treating you the way you deserve. Okay. Bye.